This is Andrew with Drake Custom Bass, and today on the bench we have, it's actually a bass I made, but as you can see it's clearly a Stingray style bass with the same classic specs at the nut and body materials. I have a John East 2-band preamp in there. I mean, it's not exact. There's nobody's going to actually think that this was made by Ernie Ball. But it's a really nice playing bass. I like the sound of it. But the client who purchased it from me is somewhat local, and he likes to try different preamps, and he's tried a couple basses I built that had the Dark Glass 3-band EQ in there, and I think he's wanting to see what that would sound like in this bass. So he wanted me to swap out the East preamp for a Dark Glass Tone Capsule, but as you can see, the plates, there's only 4 holes, and one of them has to have the output jack. There's no side jack or anything like that. So what we're going to have to do today is we're going to be pulling this preamp out, installing a dark glass, and that's going to entail drilling a jack, an output jack here, and then using all the holes in this plate for the volume, and then bass, low mid, and high mid. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to get set up and we'll get going. Just to make sure everything's actually working. Alright, so seems like everything was working, so I'm going to start taking this one out. Alright, so, and then ground, bridge ground. These are pretty simple install. Alright, so before I put any other equipment back in here, we're going to have to do this side jack. So we actually might be able to get away with just using one of these barrel style jacks rather than boring a big hole and putting a big plate here that may or may not fit the shape of the body. The Dark Glass Tone Capsule preamps, a pretty small footprint, and I think even with one position there, yeah, maybe I'll get these onto a plate and then go from there. I have everything on the plate. That's all fine and dandy. Most of the time when I have a client come to me and say, oh yeah, I want you to switch out this new preamp, put that into this bass, it should just drop right in there. That is rarely the case. Here, and this is a Dark Glass preamp. I love Dark Glass preamps. In fact, I'm actively working on achieving an OEM arrangement with them at this time. I have been using them on all my recent builds, and I absolutely love these preamps and what they do when paired with the types of pickups that I use. I think it's a perfect match. The problem that I see with these preamps, it's been annoying for me, is that oftentimes the depth, if the instrument is not a super deep bodied instrument, these are really stiff, and as you can see, they like to pop off because these don't want to bend at all, and I think it's the shrink tubing here. I suppose I could slice that maybe, and that might give me a little bit more flexibility on the wires. Or what I'm thinking I'm going to do here, because these are kind of somewhat fragile. I think this is the only fail point that I find with these, because already when I've put this into the cavity, and this cavity here, I'll measure it real quick. is like it's showing about a inch and 3/16, which is about there. But as you can see on the plate here, now these wires bend down a little bit, but when they do, that puts a lot. See how that flexes there? When I first dry fit into the base here, I pulled it out and this thing was bent down. I mean, the lugs were bent. It was clear down, almost touching the plate, which is probably not the best thing for these pots. These are just regular 50K Noble brand pots, which are my favorite pots to use. But unfortunately, I went this extension on there, which is a decent idea. It's just onto those soft metal lugs, allowing so there's a solderless connection here. But I would almost prefer to have soldered wires to the pots with shrink tube maybe on each one. That would be all fine and dandy. But this may be really convenient, but it's also adds a lot of problems with fitment into some of these pockets that I have to, some of the cavities I have to use these with. So these pots are still good. So what I'm going to do is just cut these wires and solder them onto my own 50K Noble pots that I have in stock. And I'll save these because if I do get an OEM with Dark Glass, which I really hope that works out, then I'll have some spare pots in case I ever, let's say, have a knob or something that screws up a shaft or whatever. I'll be able to switch out these pots with these connectors on there for a client. So I'm going to use my own on here, and that's what I'm going to have to do now. Now this adds a little bit of time. This was going to be a 1-hour job. Now it's going to be more than that. And the expense, I'm going to have to pull out 3 new pots. I suppose I could order a 50K stack pot and do a stacked mids, which would eliminate the need for, I guess it'd be here, and I can have the output jack there and eliminate the need to drill. But I've talked to the client and he doesn't like stack knobs. I agree. I don't really like them myself. So yeah, I'm going to convert these pots over and yeah, we'll go from there. That's what we're going to do. Okay, I got one done here, and I did strip the shrink tube off, and I think that's going to be fine. I actually think that's going to be better. It's a lot more flexible. We've got a really low profile now on that pot. That's going to work so much better. Moving on. Okay, I have everything soldered onto the just regular pots. In an effort to make things a little bit more streamlined and less chance of these coming unplugged, I've wrapped a zip tie around and I bundled up the wires here just to make a little cleaner install. And get that lined up where it needs to be. Yeah, that's going to be great. All right, next step, we're going to drill that hole and for the output jack. So I got the preamp. I'm going to drop it in there. And I have a piece of tape here because I kind of want to go right between these pots here. So I'm marking this area. Yep, that's going to be great. Give myself a little line so I can align my drill bit when I'm drilling in there. I kind of sneak up on it, start small, and I work up. This is 3/16. And I use a step-up bit. These barrel jacks require a 1/2 inch. Now, a problem using this type of a bit to do this is it will blow out really bad on the inside. So I'm going to use a regular twist bit. All right. Yeah, that turned out good. I know it seems a little convoluted, all the different bits I was using there, but I'm just trying to do the cleanest job I can. Again, this is a finished instrument, and I don't want to have to repair a finish and things like that. And a little shrink tube to Alright. I do like to have enough wire that I can take like a control plate and set it off to the side with all the wires connected. I do like that just simply because it just makes repair. Everything's going to have to be repaired at some point. And if you can make that easier, people do, especially techs, really appreciate that later on. Alright, I've got everything all soldered together. And everything's well grounded. I did check continuity with my multimeter. Everything is very well grounded. Let's get a screw in there. Okay, everything's buttoned up. No popping. Now this is just a battery powered amp, so it doesn't have a very good tone at all. So it's not a really good way to judge this preamp. It's just what I use to test. Everything is turning in the right direction. And the volume's working. Everything's looking good. So, all right, I'm gonna get some knobs on this thing. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed watching this mod where we put the Dark Glass preamp into this Music Man style bass. It was a good experience. The only little hang up I had was those pots where I switched them out, but I actually think that this is, I like this even better the way it is now. So yeah, I'm going to do a quick check of setup and make sure everything is playing nice and clean before I return it back to the client. If you would like to support our channel, if you've enjoyed these videos that we've been doing, the best way to support us is to hit that like and subscribe button. That really goes a long way for us. And we do have a Buy Me a Coffee account if you're interested in assisting us that way. But if not, that's fine. It's that time of year, so I want to wish everybody a happy holiday and hopefully this new year coming in will be good for everyone. So once again, I'm Andrew with Drake Custom Bass, and we'll see you next year.